for Spin on Golf on 760 WJR. Presented by Rocket Mortgage and the Rocket Mortgage Classic coming to Detroit Golf Club July 28th through the 31st. Now, here are your hosts, PGA professionals Jordan Young, Brian Cairns, Mike Fay, and WJR's own Sean Balagian.
Well, so glad you could join us on a Sunday night here, not just any Sunday. Happy Easter to everybody out there. Hope you enjoyed the holiday here. And as we heard right before we went on the air, just another week in Michigan. You know, an inch of snow tomorrow, highs in the low 30s, and then they're talking about high 70s at the end of the week. That's Michigan weather, no doubt about that. Jordan Young in the house, BC in the house, or I should say the BC in the house. Another edition of Spin on Golf here on 760 WJR. Congratulations to Jordan Spieth. Gets it done on Easter Sunday again, wins the RBC Heritage out at Harbor Town in the playoff over Patrick Cantlay. Guys, let's start there. Your thoughts on what you saw today?
Well, I Spieth, obviously his putting is an issue. I mean, you know what? I'm sick of the whining and complaining about this guy and his putting. Go see a putting expert. Don't stand there on the putting green at Augusta and yell at your instructor, swing instructor, why it's not going in the hole. You know, Jordan, go get it fixed like everybody else does. Whatever. I got no comment about this guy. Whatever. I think you know where it's going to go at the end of the show with this guy, too.
That lasted, what, 4 minutes? Maybe
he's back.
Couldn't take it.
He was the kinder, gentler BC last week, and he's BC again.
I mean, you're in the dome of Augusta. You know, you're in a happy mood. And now you leave Augusta. It's like, oh, realities. I'm back in the world again. Forget it.
I just, that's the most golf I've watched. I actually came home after teaching this morning. I came home kind of early. I got home at about 1:30. We had a little early Easter kind of family deal with my wife and her parents and their family. And I said, well, I'm going to sit down and watch some golf. I got to watch like 12 or 13 holes. Could barely keep my eyes open. But I learned a lot about this golf course. You can hit it in some pretty weird, goofy spots around the greens. It's like playing from sofa to sofa with all the dye stuff around there and the bunkers. I mean, it's like getting ledged up north at the Bear. I mean, you just have to chip sideways a few times. But I don't know. I think Spieth kind of backdoored. He played pretty well. He had some putting issues, and he dodged probably about 15 or 20 bullets there coming down the stretch. I honestly thought that Lowry was going to win or Cantlay. And, he got a two-man playoff, and, Jordan Spieth is kind of lethal at that.
I wanted to ask you, BC, there were some gusts of wind today, and I remember you telling us about Kiowa last year and how the wind is crazy there. Is it similar to that? I know it's a couple hours away, but is it similar to Kiowa, how the wind can just screw with you at that course?
Well, I think it's worse because you have ocean winds and you have the Calabogie Sound winds, and then you have the lower winds underneath the tree levels. So if you're hitting the ball low, which is tough to do there because you can't stop a ball in the green because they're so small, and if you hit it up in the air, you could be totally surprised, even though you know exactly pretty much in general where the wind's coming from, but you can get a gust coming up the Calabogie Sound in the other direction, and you're totally fooled. And, and Spieth said it in his press conference that the wind was kind of changing and it was coming back down the Sound there at the end. And that's where he thought he had a chance, because he was in a few groups earlier. But yeah, the wind gusts at that place is really tough because the fairways are really half the fairways because of the overhanging trees. You have to hit it on the correct side of the fairways to approach the whole locations because there's a lot of trees right near the greens that you can't hit over. So that's what makes the course neat. And I think it'll be timeless for a long time.
You guys have a chance to talk to James Piot in case people missed it. Had a good day on Thursday. He was even through the first shot, 4 over on day 2 and missed the cut. But, as he told us last week, look, he's in learning experience mode. I mean, this is stuff that he's going to use moving forward for years. Did you guys get a chance to talk to him about his experience?
I talked to him at great length today. on his drive home. Him and Zach Rosendale were on their way home today. They kind of tied one on last night, so they kind of slept in. But James said he hit the ball really good off the tee, which, he kind of didn't do at Augusta, but he hit a couple little loose iron shots that you don't have to be too loose by too much. So his greens and regulations were kind of tainted because he putted a lot from off the green, and it doesn't show up as a putting stat. So it really wasn't as bad as it looked. Yes, we need to tighten up his wedge play because he didn't make very many birdies, but again, he sounded pretty positive about the way he played, and he's coming home now for about 3 weeks of college events.
I thought he looked more competitive. Not that he wasn't at Augusta, but I thought he was going to make the cut. He turned there. He had that eagle. He got to, I think, 2 over, and then or maybe it was 3 over, and then he made the eagle, and then he ran into a couple bad holes there. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but you can say, hey, you missed a cut by this, missed a cut by that. It's only a matter of time where making the cut's going to be a normal experience for him. That's just my belief.
Right.
No doubt. I mean, if day one's any indicator, I mean, you shoot even and you at least put yourself in that position to say, okay, forget about making the cut. Let's take a move up the scoreboard.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you see the scores the second day, the average score was over par. So, he was maybe didn't get off a good enough start, but he was in position, and now he knows he had a little heat on him, and unfortunately, James knows he's got heat on him with the whole situation of where he is and the opportunities he's getting and what people are giving him, and he's very thankful for it. But that's why I'm trying to lighten the load on him and tell him it's okay. It's for the long haul, not just a short sprint.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest part right now. I mean, he certainly isn't short on confidence, and I say that as a compliment. I mean, he knows he belongs. Right. He's shown he belongs. But BC, to your point, it's not that easy when you're at that level, and it really is. I have to reiterate, a learning experience, and trying to forget some of those things.
Yeah, it's a switch from being a college player, being an amateur playing, and being one of the top 20 players in a 130 player field. You're probably not a top 130 player in that field. So it's really difficult to, because I kind of know the way he quietly thinks about that stuff, that he might not be the best player. But I think over the course of time, he's going to start believing that he's going to get it done his way. And that's what he really has to start believing.
Well, look at the guys last week at the Masters. I had people asking me what was wrong with Rory and what was wrong with Jordan Spieth. That was a week ago. Yeah. And right. Rory has this lightning round, shoots up the leaderboard, and now Spieth is a winner. That's kind of how golf is.
Yep.
You just keep chugging away, and you see what happens, and you just never know.
RBC, of course, Jordan Spieth wins in the playoff today. Next week, the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. Fellas, we are only a month away from the PGA Championship at Southern Hills Country Club in Tulsa. Are you guys familiar with that one, by the way? I've been meaning to ask you that. And any
I think it's brutal, and they redid it. They played the senior PGA there last year, and Bob Sauerwitz, one of our club professionals, finished 4th or 5th there, I think. 5th, and he said it's just brutal. It can come up and bite you at any moment. But I think Gil Hans redid it, and I think they made it a lot more difficult than what it already was. So, I'm here this week heading for a buddy of mine, Scott Berliner. He shot a little 67 today, so he's in the top 12 at the Club Pro Championship. That's our qualifier for the PGA. But that'll be tough. That'll be really tough in Tulsa.
Looking forward to that, no doubt about it. Lots going on in the golfing world. Jordan Young, BC in the house. So when we come back, we haven't had a chance to talk about the Saudi Golf League. I'm really intrigued to get your guys' thoughts on this, or at least Jordan's thoughts on this. More on that coming up. Don't go anywhere. Happy Easter to everybody. Glad you could join us on a Sunday night here on 760 WJR. I love saying Happy Easter. Somehow people get offended at that, so I make sure that I always say Happy Easter.
I think you got to say Happy Passover too.
Yeah. Okay. I'll throw that in.
I think you got to throw both in.
Yeah.
Backslash or forward slash.
Now you got to say everything, right?
Yeah.
Easter, Passover. Aren't there like 2 or 3 more?
I don't know what else.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else has been made?
What do you think of Spieth's
whatever.
little pre-shot?
He's kind of tamed it. I like it. I like it because
Water,
I
I'll be
got
right
to
back.
hear. I got to hear what Cameron's thought process behind it is. He's trying to go into a super amount of extension on his downswing instead of his down cocking flexion move, which gets him super stuck. So he's just trying to do the opposite. He's trying to reverse his pattern. Yeah, that's all. And I kind of like what he does. He's tamed it from Augusta. It was pretty brutal at Augusta, but
we should talk about that a little bit.
He needs to find a new putting routine because it's freaking awful.
Sound like.
And again, this is the topic. Well, yeah, the topic. Like I was on the range this afternoon, and the whole topic was how bad everybody's kids are putting. I'm like, yeah, I got a whole generation of bad putters, starting from Pyatt all the way down to like the 11 and 12-year-olds I see. Everybody can't putt.
Yeah, what happened to
I don't know if they
just
can't.
unbelievable putters.
Henry Doe could putt because those kids back then, I think he was the last of them that liked to gamble and hang around the putting green instead of beating balls. I really believe that. And I think that's what it's come to.
Sean, we should probably open with we want to talk a little bit about Spieth's move. He has a little practice move, kind of a rehearsal move.
Okay.
And then, and I don't want to go the whole 15 on the Saudi, but I think
no, I agree. If you guys don't want to hit it at all, I don't care.
No, I think we need to talk about it. I just don't want to go. But let's open with the Spieth and.
Do you have the players that are committed?
I'll pull them up. Sean, you can pull some of them up too. Well, unofficially.
Yeah, it's
still unofficial
and all that crap.
What's it called?
Saudi League. Scott, do you know what it's called? The Saudi League?
Which one? The one that nobody's playing in?
Yeah, the one.
There's
by Live Investments.
By who investments?
Live
Investments.
That's the Greg Norman thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if there's an official name for it though.
Live Investments.
Welcome to the Back Nine. It's Spin on Golf on WJR. Presented by Rocket Mortgage and the Rocket Mortgage Classic coming to Detroit Golf Club July 28th through the 31st. Once again, here are PGA professionals Jordan Young, Brian Cairns, Mike Bay, and WJR's own Sean Balagian.
All right, welcome back in. So glad you could join us Sunday night. Spin on Golf. Again, happy Easter. Happy Passover as well. Passover began the 15th, so want to make sure that I remember that. Before we talk about the Saudi Golf League or whatever they're going to decide to call themselves, and certainly there have been a bunch of names whispered and rumored to be involved. I know you guys want to get into something. Eric Dortch, our fine producer, said, I wanted to ask you guys what that Spieth move was all about. So, yeah, definitely would love to hear your insight on that, guys.
Well, Brian and I do this a lot with our students. We like to see people rehearse their move in slow-mo, whether it be backswing, down to impact, body feels, movement patterns, wrist patterns, whatever it may be. And, I saw Spieth last week at Augusta doing this, and I saw him again doing it today, but I saw him doing it a lot more because he was doing it right before every shot. And it was pretty close to his trigger time. I mean, BC, to me, it looked like he was within about 3 seconds of pulling the trigger. But anyways, getting into more detail, BC, I'll let you go into what you believe. And I know that you were listening to Cameron McCormick, his coach, talk a little bit about what they're trying to do, but basically it was a complete reversal of his pattern, correct?
Yes. Spieth has always, had a weak left wrist on the club, a weak left wristed grip. I would say, people would say one knuckle, whatever you want to say. And then in his transition, he turned it into a 3-knuckle grip with a lot of wrist bow, and trying to mimic how to release the club in the downswing. But that kind of got the club a little bit steep early and then very flat late, AKA stuck. So, the best way to change a pattern is, I guess, if you're really trying to move something, is to way overdo it. So, Cameron had him going, wrist extension early, and try to keep the shaft more up and out longer. And by doing that, it kind of looks like he's throwing the club from the outside, which he really isn't. The hand path is going to stay inside, not to get extremely technical here, but he's still going to hit the ball from the inside, but trying to lose all that club face de-lofting on his downswing, which makes his club eventually stuck a little bit closer to the ball. And I think they were talking about his ball flight coming up a little bit more at Augusta. And obviously it's going the right way. He's tamed it, as if you've seen Jordan from February until now. It's less of that move, and he's getting a lot more comfortable with it.
I think that it's important for the listeners out there, if you are getting lessons or you are working on your game, you have to take it tenfold. Going an inch isn't going to matter. You've got to go a long way to field something completely different. I don't know how many times we're in teaching lessons and we use video or the mirror and say, hey, bend your knees less. And they bend their knees less and they feel like they're standing with their legs straight. And you say, hey, take a look back in the mirror, and they look back and their knees are bent way too much. I mean, people just don't realize how much they need to change until they either see it with their own eyes in a live view or on video. And I just think that's really good for people out there to know. And I mean, it happened today. You've got to overdo it, and overtrain it to make a change.
It's incredible that, before the advent of video feedback, how good a Hogan or even a Demerit, let's go back to Harry Cooper, who was one of the best swingers of the, back in the 20s, and then Henry Cotton in the 30s, how good their swings were with no video feedback, with just somebody watching them. And then they turned, yeah, that's good. And then they just learned to feel. And again, we're talking about maybe a generation of bad putters with this new generation of kids. But I just don't think they're feeling enough. They're not doing enough on their own to get these feels. And I kind of like what Jordan did. I mean, he went radical because he knew he had a big problem, and he's still able to make cuts. And then eventually he won. So kudos to him.
It's interesting. There have been so many rumors now. I mean, how long has this been out there? I mean, you guys would know better than I, but there have been so many rumors about Greg Norman and this live golf. And of course, they do have a schedule this year. It's going to be an 8-tournament, $255 million series, including, oh, by the way, 4 events in the U.S., Pumpkin Ridge Golf Club, that is in July, the Trump National Golf Club in New Jersey, late July, the International in Boston, early September, and then mid-September, Rich Harvest Farms in Chicago. Part of it this week, and certainly the last couple months, are all the names that are rumored to be jumping on board. Just this week, Bubba Watson, Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood were names that were thrown out there. First of all, guys, your thoughts on this venture. I mean, this is something that, again, you've heard about it for a while, but the reality of it, it seems like this is really going to start up.
It's for real.
I'm going to send a couple little flashers out there, and BC can drop his howitzers. But, I didn't really pay attention to any of this. I like Greg Norman. I liked him as a player. I respect him. I don't know what made him go down this road. I don't know what his motivation was. Okay, so he's got this tour going. He's trying to bring big players in from all over the place, trying to bring them in with some money, some appearance money. It's just weird how the PGA Tour seemed to not really be ready for this, and then they all of a sudden got this massive influx of money to pay the players on the PGA Tour more money, and like less people started to kind of go there, and then they all just pulled back towards the PGA Tour way. And they're going to have guys play, and whether they pull lesser guys from the Korn Ferry Tour or smaller tours, and they go over there and they win the big prize money, the 5, 6, 7, 8 million, so be it. Maybe they'll pull more people over 2 or 3 years down the line, and we'll be talking 5 years from now that this is a comparable golf tour. Who knows? I don't really care. I have no skin in the game. Obviously, I'm a PGA member. The PGA Tour is a different entity. People don't realize that. But I like to see people play in one place and play on the best tour in the world. And right now, that's the PGA Tour.
Okay. I have 2 theories on this. Okay. Since I'm a conspiracy theorist, I believe that this tour was created to squeeze money out of the PGA Tour. Okay. For one, it worked. On the second note, the PGA Tour had the PGA of China. Okay. They were trying to go worldwide. They eventually took a stake into the European Tour. Now it's called, I'm not sure what it's called.
DP World.
DP World. Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
Scott.
67, Scotty. And
maybe we should have him on the show.
it's my associate producer over there. so sorry, Dorsch. So I think that they pulled back from there, and then then the powers to be, Greg Norman, who's got an axe to grind with the PGA Tour, jumped in and said, "Hey, we've got an opportunity here, and obviously there's money out there to put into it." Now the players, I don't know. I mean, if you talk to anybody in the world, they still believe the PGA Tour is the place to be and the place to play. And I believe that, and I probably always will believe it. The best play here, and you know what? When some of the best start jumping over to that tour, and the PGA Tour loosens its restrictions on playing elsewhere, then I'll start believing it. But as of now, I don't believe it's going to fly. It'll fly in some aspects, but you're not going to get the McIlroys and the Tigers and those kind of players there.
They're playing some great golf courses, and they have great purses, and they have some competition against some of the PGA Tour events.
Well, I'm glad they're at Bedminster because my association left Bedminster, the PGA, which is going to Tulsa this year, and I just I'm glad someone's filling that spot at Bedminster.
That's a question I wanted to ask you guys. I mean, the easy question is this good for golf? This sounds like it's good for certain golfers. Maybe not golf itself. Is that the fair way to look at it?
I think so. I think that's right. I'm not sure about the TV contracts, where it's going to fit in schedule wise, when they're going to play. They're going to play at the same time the PGA Tour is playing on the weekends. I mean, who's going to be watching that? I'm definitely going to be watching the PGA Tour at all times. I don't know. I don't know their scheduling.
Yeah, I'm going to be intrigued to see this. It really seems like a few months ago that BC, I think you used the term, if you didn't, correct me, but it seems like guys got scared off. Like a few months ago, oh, no, I'm not involved in that. And, everybody kind of did the pull back and everything. And now, in the last couple of months, you're starting to hear more names attached to this. Now, whether it comes to fruition or not, I guess we're all going to have to take the wait and see.
Yeah, well, I can't find that official list yet. So
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. All right, coming up on 7:30 on a Friday night. So glad you can join us. Some other news and happenings in the world of golf when we come back. Jordan Young, BC. I'm Sean Balagian. Glad you could join us Sunday night right here. Spin on Golf on 760 WJR.
So what'd you say about their schedules?
The Wings had a close one today.
To not compete against the big.
How about they played great against Carolina and then just two crap in a row?
Do it to where they weren't going to compete against the big.
What else you want to hit on, Jordan?
It would be like opposite field events and stuff like that. Lower end events. So that's the guys, the big names wouldn't have gone to anyway, right? So they're not falling away.
You want to hit on Bryson?
PGA Tour
events, yeah.
Yeah, we can do Bryson a little
Plus, they're only going to have 15 events.
You want to
do the woman?
Make sure we mention the LPGA winner.
Yes.
Yep.
H.J. Kim And 11 under par. That was in Hawaii, I believe. Purse was $2 million. $2 million purse.
It's not very good.
Low American was Gina Pillar. I didn't know she was American.
Yeah, Gina Pillar.
Jarina.
Mendoza. Yeah.
You're almost upside down going to Hawaii, and so what if you make the cut? You're not going to make your money back unless you finish in top 15.
Yeah. What else?
I mean, that purse is $1 million less than the PGA or the Champions Tour purses. Yeah. It's pretty sad.
You want to talk a little bit about the tournament there, BC?
Yeah, I think so. I got to kind of hold my tongue.
What's holding you back?
Yeah. Conditions.
They don't look very good on TV.
They're worse in person. So I won't get into the conditions of the facility, but I know we're still on. But for the sake of Omni and what they've tried to do to put it together, I'll hold my tongue. It's a tough venue to walk. It's all I can say. Makes Augusta look dead flat. We walked 12 miles yesterday. 12 and a half miles. And we were out there for 6 hours in our practice round. It was, this place is a beauty.
What do you guys have coming up? I always like to ask you guys what you have coming up too. I'll make sure we do that with the Punk of the Week in the last segment. So,
well, we're canceled tomorrow because of the snow. We had a chapter pro.
Spring Scramble. I could have signed up for it and got a point.
Yeah, Spring Scramble next Monday.
Oh my gosh!
I'm playing with Rosendale, Chad, and Brian.
Brian.
Welcome to the back nine.
Harris?
It's Spin on Golf on WJR. Presented by Rocket Mortgage and the Rocket Mortgage Classic coming to Detroit Golf Club July 28th through the 31st. Once again, here are PGA professionals Jordan Young, Brian Cairns, Mike Bay, and WJR's own Sean Balagian.
I always love getting messages from Jeff Marcero during the show. I'm going to read this message in case you haven't seen it already, BC. No need to hold your tongue. Let loose, BC.
Okay, I must have our producer's finger on the button then. Okay, because the bleep button. Because I mean, my good friend Frank Beckman said, do your best not to use the F word, and everything else they can catch. But that word just doesn't sound good, BC. And Easter of all times is not a good time to let it slip.
No.
By the way, congratulations to H.J. Kim, the winner in Hawaii on the ladies' side, shoots 11 under. What was that, a $2 million purse? She wins by 2 strokes. Congratulations to her out in Hawaii for getting it done on the LPGA side.
Yeah, the scores again on the weekend kind of flattened out. I guess it blew a little bit more today, but Hawaii with the wins. But nobody really ran away with it. They all kind of bunched up, and there you go.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially for anybody who's been to Hawaii, and you've played golf there. Unless you know what you're doing, that place will eat you alive, and I'm living proof of that. I mean, the wind coming off of every one of those beaches is unbelievable. It's the average human doesn't understand how treacherous it is if you haven't gone out there and tried it.
Never played there.
Really?
Nope. Never played there. I think I'd be let down if I went and played golf there, but I could be.
It's an extremely long plane ride. That's all I know.
It's a really long boat ride too.
Yeah. If I could drive, I'd go.
BC, we didn't get into it much last week, but you guys got to spend some time on the range. I don't know if you spend much time on the range with Bryson, but you and I kind of, glass licked the ropes there, as James and and Bryson were playing together last week, and they were supposed to play together in the par 3. So he recently had surgery. Did you hear exactly what happened? I know he fell on some granite floor playing ping pong, but do you know the details of his surgery?
He said it was no, not really. He did, and he was pretty open about it with James, and James really hasn't shared with me what he said, but they were talking pretty freely about it. He just knew as a matter of time that he had to get it done. He kind of let it go at first and thought it would get better by resting it, and it never did, honestly. And they thought he might have done some damage to it when he came back and started playing. But really not much has been said of what really injured it. I know that really exasperated it, but I thought he originally did it with basketball and then ping pong, right? Ping pong is what they said, but Bryson even said he did something in basketball too. And then the ping pong thing is the most widely advertised for him. But I think it's going to be a quick recovery for him. But, it's funny, Jordan, we never really talked about how much skinnier the guys looked at Augusta.
Yeah.
Koepka's really toned down, and now they're talking about lean mass instead of bulk mass. It's just unbelievable how the tide has kind of turned the other direction. And I don't think Bryson was as big. He definitely was there.
Yeah, he definitely.
I think they're going to go a little bit more lean.
I just saw a picture today of Cam Smith,
staying bulky.
And Scott staying bulky.
Scott staying bulky, yeah. He just says staying bulky,
yeah. Cam Smith, he had this kind of Aussie outfit on. I don't know if it's from the Olympics last year or not, and then they showed him from the Augusta, and I was like, wow, like he looks like he's lost 60 pounds, and he did look lean and fast and really good. And I'm like, yeah, I remember he did used to look like that. He looks a lot better with the squirrely hair lean than he looked with the squirrely hair a little bigger. So good point, BC.
Isn't it amazing how that's changed over the years? I mean, people were mocking Jack Nicklaus years ago for being quote unquote chubby. And then, you look at Stadler and people called Phil hefty for a long time. It really is a training regiment now with these guys. I mean, these guys are training. They are professional athletes, but they're training like professional athletes. Gone are those days that you see those guys carrying an extra 15, 20, 40 pounds on the tour.
Well, there's some Phil Kessels for the PGA Tour. Look at Higgs, right? I mean, that guy at Masters there is he had a sweater on. It kept coming up over his belly like about 8 inches every time he's swinging the club. But the guy's super talented and he doesn't care. I think it's every person's a little different, but you are seeing more guys kind of lean it up a little bit and just get faster instead of bigger, I guess.
I just think they're going to, the guys are really, really conscious of being able to play into the late 40s or not late 40s, but in the late 30s and early 40s and be extremely competitive. Lee Westwood certainly has done it. Phil certainly has done it. And I think that's all because of fitness and diet and paying attention the way you move. So, obviously we've got better trainers, better instruction, and people are just paying more attention. They want to play. They want to feel better, but they want to play longer.
Look at Lowry, right? Lowry likes a few pints, doesn't he?
I won't tell you that the average number of pints he drinks a day, but it was staggering when I talked to his caddy at Augusta.
Let's just say it was more than on one hand.
It was a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's Jordan, as you alluded to, Bryson is going to miss the PGA. It is only a month away again in Tulsa, and that obviously is a disappointment for everybody, including you, BC, who. If people missed the show last week, you've done a 180. You and Bryson, you guys are old chums now.
Yeah, we're like this now. That's right. It's my man now. I'm picking him like I used to pick Westwood now.
Westwood's out.
Forever. Westwood's out. Bryson's in. It's my new boy.
Now the POW or POE.
Yeah, I heard a rumor we might have that back later on in the last segment of the show. That it's just a rumor right now.
Guaranteed.
It's not a rumor anymore. I always like to ask you guys what's going on around here. BC, I remember the first year we did this show together, you made such a great comment. You said, why would people make a golf trip? You know, there are so many great courses in this state, and there's honestly, you could go to so many majestic courses in this state, but you guys obviously have a busy schedule. I always like to ask what's going on with you guys.
Well, I can say that there's nothing going on because it's supposed to snow tomorrow.
Right. That's bizarre.
All my students are pissed at me because I've been saying, next week it's going to be nicer. The range will open. Well, I've been saying that for like 5 weeks now. So, but I did get outside today, short game area, yesterday and today for about 2.5 hours. It wasn't bad. It was 40 degrees, but it was doable, and everybody had a good time. But that's all I got going on. I think we've got a spring scramble starting next week. Our tournament tomorrow is canceled. Our Eastern Chapter Pro due to the weather. So that's it for me.
I just got to get home and help my wife unpack. We moved a few weeks ago. She moved a few weeks ago while I was on vacation in Augusta, and my lovely wife took care of everything for me because, she's great. And I got to get home and give her a hand and then get back to my students. And then that's about it. It was, you know what, Jordan, to speak of that, I went out and hit some balls this afternoon. It was like 88 and muggy. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I just came back in the hotel room and relaxed.
Nice up and down on the comment on the wife there, BC.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was great.
Jordan, can I throw this out there, though? Like a day like today, you don't mind a day like today when, you see the temperature and it's like 42 or whatever. But if the sun's out and the wind's not blowing, you can tolerate it. There's a big difference between being out there on that overcast day where it's just blustery and everything. It wasn't that bad today.
No, you go to work every day and you're wondering, like, what's it going to be like and where's the wind direction coming from and how is the sun going to be out? and it's been for too many months now. But today we got a little small taste of it, just enough to get out there and feel the grass burn. It felt pretty good.
BC's just giving thumbs down incessantly.
Wow. Hey, BC knows when it's time to get work done, you got to go get it done. You got to get out there.
Yep.
You got to feel the grass.
Yeah, that's the way it is. Got to layer up. Get it done.
Got to do it.
Great. Well, let's hope it's not like the repeat of last summer. Everybody, you guys had give instructions. Everybody was behind with all the rain last year. It was insane with all the rain last year. And I remember Mike Fay said he was like months behind in particular, and we look forward to Mike joining us again. All right, final segment of the show on a Sunday night. So glad you could join us. The rumor, well, it's not a rumor. Punk of the Week is back. Some other things to get into as well. Don't you go anywhere. Jordan Young, BC, Sean Balagian with you here on a Sunday night. So glad you could join us. Spin on Golf on 760 WJR.
Maybe
should we talk just briefly on the PGA and what goes on there and what happens
at the Club Pro?
Yeah, just top 20 get into the PGA.
Yeah. I haven't checked the scores and see who's. I think Tyler Collette's leading. I'm not sure.
I've got it.
Let me see my score. My assistant producer could punch it up for me here.
Dial it up.
There he goes.
He's on the show. I can hear him without even a microphone.
It's outstanding. I'm sorry, it's great.
Yeah, they can hear you loud and clear. They said it's great. It's like having two guys on, but there he is. Let me look at him upside down. There he is right there. Okay. They like the shot.
You look much worse on TV radio than you sound.
Probably should have upgraded to the faster Wi-Fi for $5 a day, but
no.
I got it. Yeah, he shot 6 under. He birdied his first.
Tyler Collette has a 1-shot lead. Shot 6 under on the tough course. It's
pretty good. He made a 2 on number 12, par 4. It's a shorty.
3 guys tied for second, 5 under.
Small
All went to
4
Fort
under.
Crenshaw, which is where we played today.
Yeah, Small shot a good score on the hard course.
We
We're
got a
still
bunch
playing.
of guys tied for 15th at 4 under. I got one guy still at 4 under. There's a couple guys at 4 under through 15 of the core Crenshaw course. 3 under is currently tied for 15th.
Tied for 15th at 3 under. Wow.
Hey, is Kyle
Unbelievable.
All the way
Kyle
down
Martin
to
there?
Yeah, he's
down
here.
at 2 under.
They're staying at like a zoo.
A
Seltzer
zoo.
sent
Yes, they are.
Seltzer sent Scotty a video of him driving in, and there was like zebras and giraffes and donkeys.
Oh my.
It's Austin. That's all I gotta say. I'm not gonna say anything. It's Austin. Wow.
Wow.
Seltzer. I wouldn't expect nothing different from Seltzer. Timmy Pierce. I don't think anybody played good. I think even par. Brodebeck was even par is the best one I saw. Or Kermel.
Yeah, well, they're still kind of playing, I think.
I thought this place is perfect for Kermel.
Birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey.
I mean, you get a lie in one of these fairways over there at that Hills course.
Uh-huh.
You could just try to scratch your head and figure out how you're going to get along the green.
Hebert's 1 under through 14.
That's good.
How do you want me to lobby this softball then, Jordan?
Just hey BC, tell me about where you're at, the event, the Club Pro Championship, how it works.
All right.
Top 20 get into the PGA.
See, I think that's great stuff. That's just crap that people I don't have a clue about that stuff, you know?
No, it's on TV.
Hebert's
It's on TV.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Hebert.
But
Hebert's 1 under. Yeah.
how it works and everything. I think that's great.
Well, it's 312 of our best guys from 41 sections all come here and battle it out for the right to play in the PGA Championship.
That's
It's
awesome.
just 20 guys, but it's and everyone's like, oh, we're just club pros, but there's 100, 150 guys here that can really
Welcome
flat
to
out
the back
play.
nine. It's Spin on Golf on WJR, presented by Rocket Mortgage and the Rocket Mortgage Classic coming to Detroit Golf Club July 28th through the 31st. Once again, here are PGA professionals Jordan Young, Brian Cairns, Mike Bay, and WJR's own Sean Balagian.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of the show on a Sunday night. Glad you could join us. We were just talking during the break, and there are so many cool things happening that I don't think a lot of people, maybe know how it works, the inner working, so to speak. And BC, you're involved in one right now. Let everybody know what's going on because it's who's kidding who? It's the dream, right?
I think so for club professionals, all classes, Class A members in the PGA of America, which I'm a PGA America member. Jordan's a PGA of America member, and I've been lucky to make it through a few times and playing the PGA. But the starting point is our professional championships for us in Michigan, and it usually happens last fall, late August into September, and like 8 or 10 guys, I think 10 guys from Michigan qualified and came down here, but other sections, I think Scott's section is 2 guys qualified. It depends the size of your section. And there's 41 PGA sections. And those representatives, past champions, all come together here, 312 players. There'll be a cut after tomorrow, and then there's to 90 players in ties, and then a cut after 3 days, 70 in ties. And then on Wednesday, the final round, guys will be fighting it out for the top 20, which gives them the right to go to the PGA Championship in Tulsa. Now, to me, this is the biggest tournament in the world, and it always has been, and I've always treated it that way. PGA America treats us unbelievable once you get to the PGA Championship. Jordan's happened to share that with me a couple of times. It's the pinnacle of what we can do as playing golf professionals. And it's at some really, really unbelievable venues the last 25 years that I've played in them, and hopefully more. But we're in Austin, Texas this week.
I've been lucky to play in 3 or 4 of the Club Pro Championships, and Brian, you've probably played in about 24.
Yep.
But you've made it through to the PGA Championship, a major. I'm going to say 4 times or 5 times?
3 times.
3 times, okay.
Yep.
So I'm giving you more credit than you actually deserve.
Yeah, a lot of senior PGAs, but
but I would say that when I spent the week with you at Kiowa and also the week with you at Whistling Straits, those were pretty cool experiences for the week that we were there, to be with you at caddy. And yeah, you are right. The PGA America takes those 20 PGA professionals that get to play in that event. They take great care of them. They get to enjoy that unbelievable experience with some of the best in the world. And you know what? I give the tour guys credit. For the most part, they treat you guys pretty well. They understand, and you know, they kind of take you guys under their wing for the week and have at it.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty neat thing. And everyone says, you know, what the PGA is going to probably not be a major and the players are going to be a major, but I think it's a neat mix. And we always get the top 100 players in the world to play in this event. So statistically, it's the best field in golf. If you look at it from that detail, I know there's 20 of us in there, but you know, don't discount the fact of those 20 guys. You know, I snuck in a couple of times, but those 20 guys can really flat out play. And as you know, Ben Cook finished 42nd last year as a club professional at Kiowa. So, you know, don't discount that some of the guys are still playing and teaching. The younger guys obviously are doing it more than we are. But it's again, it's the biggest event for me, and even the senior PGA is the biggest event for me now.
You know, BC, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this last year, and I think now the question maybe is even better when you consider we talked to James Pyatt last year and his last week and his interaction with so many guys. It's not like Sergio Garcia is going to help you tie a tie, right? But what is
Right.
that dynamic between maybe the guys on the tour and the amateur versus some of you club pros?
Well, I think James has been used to being around Jordan and I and a bunch of the club professionals, friends of mine, and you know, even staying down a winter and down south with me a winter and having you know, with Scotty and playing with us, and we don't intimidate him anymore, you know, and it's time that he's taken that next level up, and it's just a matter of time before he gets super comfortable, you know, and he just feels like he can walk on club professionals now, and now he's gonna. You know, there's going to be a time and day where James is going to feel like he can walk on some of those fields.
How is the interaction with you guys, the club pros and the guys on the tour? I mean, how do they treat you differently, or are they there with words of encouragement, et cetera, et cetera?
No, they're great. You know what? I played a lot of practice rounds, a lot of good players, you know, and I'm maybe they see me as the court jester out there, but more or less
the little man. VJ calls
I'm
him
the little
man.
guys. Yeah, VJ calls me, "Hey, little man."
You got to tell him the story at the Masters. That's funny.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm on the range, you know, next to James, and there comes VJ walking up to me, you know, behind me, and he goes, "Hey, little man, what are you doing here?" You know, he goes, "Everywhere I turn, you show up. What are you doing?" I'm like, well, "I got a player in the field this week." He goes, "You got a player in the field." You know, he was like surprised that I could teach that well. You know, he was shocked. So I explained to him, the kid won the U.S. Amateur. He's like, "Oh my gosh." He's like, "Maybe you come down and help me out now." You know, so, and then I kind of talked to him and asked him to play with James on Wednesday. So he played a few holes with VJ on Wednesday. You know, another guy with a green jacket. You know,
Yeah.
James
I can't get rid of you.
You just keep
your yellow ball.
You just keep showing up wherever I go.
Whether it was a Champions Tour event or the PGA Championship or on the range at Oakland Hills in 06, it doesn't matter. Now you're at the Masters.
That's great.
Yeah, here I am, BJ. Sorry, buddy.
All right, we got.
He's great though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. We got a couple minutes left. I know a lot of people are going to be happy to hear it. Last week we were. I think everybody was taken aback. The kinder, gentler BC. BC, with that being said, being said, that guy's gone, and it's
gone.
The BC. So without further ado, the punk of the week.
The punk of the week by far, and he might have this more than once, is Jordan Spieth. I mean, the reactions, the commotion with his putting, is just, I've had it up to here. You know what? Go find somebody. Go take care of it. And we don't want to hear about it anymore. You've won a major, couple majors, hasn't he? Yeah, he's won a couple majors. You know what? Go fix your putting. Don't complain about it. Fix it or just go away. And that's all I got to say about the punk of the week, Jordan Spieth.
I thought it was interesting. He said today in the interview that, like, I didn't really putt worth a crap, or I didn't have my A putting game, but I still managed to win. He goes, that usually doesn't happen. You know, I don't know. He wears. Some people like that he says everything that comes to his mind. I don't know. It kind of wears on you a little bit.
I don't know.
Colin,
I don't
Sean
like the
as
caddy
well.
blame. Yeah.
He might win it a few
Yeah.
times. I have a feeling he's going to win it a few times. Spieth is still
unfortunately,
only 28.
yes.
He's still only 28 years old. It's amazing. In BC, he does have 3 majors: Masters in 2015, U.S. Open, and the Open in 2017. So,
but we have a new nomination. It's called the FGP, the Feel Good Player of the Week.
Oh
the
yeah.
FGP. And BC and I were chatting before the show, and I had the exact same feeling. Harold Varner.
This guy, Harold Varner, I talked to him at Augusta. This guy is doing everything correct. Everything in the community, everything for his foundation. He's doing everything a human being should be doing. So Harold Varner, keep it up. You're a good man.
The FGP of the week. And I will tell you this, at the Masters, he walked by on Monday, and every guy in the range stopped him to talk to him. That says something, because none of those guys really wanted to talk to anybody. Everybody wanted to talk to Harold Varner. So he's my new favorite guy right now. I hope he was going to win today, but he didn't.
See, I like that. You can pound, but at the same time, you can give somebody a pat on the back, right?
Got to go both ways.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The POW ain't going away.
FGP, Feel Good Player.
Yay. All right, guys,
baby.
Always a pleasure. Want to thank Eric Dortch and, of course, Jeff Marcero and Nick Roddy. Next week, we're going to be at the DGC. Looking forward to being out there again. And, of course, it's late July. We're going to be talking a lot about it the next couple of months, but really looking forward to the Rocket Mortgage Classic moving this year, late July 28th through the 31st. That's going to do it
Thank
tonight.
you, Mr. Gilbert.
Yep. For Jordan Young and BC, I'm Sean Balagian saying we'll talk to you next week right here on 760 WJR. Good night, everybody.